إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. Then to continue with Al-Aqedah Tahawiyyah, the creed of Imam At-Tahawi, with the explanation of Shaykh Salih Al-Fawzan, Hafidhahullah. Then we reached point number 8. The point that in Shaykh Al-Fawzan's explanation is numbered as point number 8. Yarhamakallah. وَلَا يَكُونُ إِلَّا مَا يُرِيدُ. And nothing occurs except what He wills. Meaning nothing occurs except what Allah wills. Shaykh Al-Fawzan said in his explanation, this contains an affirmation of Al-Qadr, pre-decree, and an affirmation of Al-Irada, of Allah's will. Allah's Irada, Allah's will. Both of these two things. This contains an affirmation of Al-Qadr, pre-decree, and of Allah's Irada, His will. And if we remember that the levels of pre-decree that the people of knowledge mention, the levels of pre-decree that we need to know are 4 levels. Maratibul Qadr are 4. Firstly, Al-Ilm, knowledge, that Allah knew everything. Allah has always known everything that was going to be. And the second level, Al-Kitabah, that Allah wrote that down in the preserved tablet. And thirdly, Al-Mashi'ah, that Allah willed that that would occur. And fourthly, Al-Khalq, that Allah actually created that thing. Whatever occurred, Allah created it. So as we see, Allah's will, His Mashi'ah, His universal will, is the third level of this. That everything that occurs in the creation, then it is by the will of Allah. So Shaykh Al-Fawzan said, with regard to this heading here, or this point, وَلَا يَكُونُ إِلَّا مَا يُرِيدُ. Nothing occurs except what He wills. He said, so this contains an affirmation of pre-decree and an affirmation of Allah's will. So nothing exists within His kingdom, and nothing occurs within His creation, whether events or things, except that Allah willed it to occur. He, the Perfect and Most High, willing it with His Irada al-Kawniyah, willing it with His universal will. Meaning that whatever occurs in the creation, Allah willed that it would be so, by His universal will, al-Irada al-Kawniyah. And we've had previously the point that the people of the Sunnah, they distinguish between, and as Shaykh Falah, Hafidhullah, when he was here, he made it very clear as well, that the people of the Sunnah, they distinguish between Allah's universal will. That which He wills will certainly occur within the creation. Meaning that which will inescapably occur. It has to occur. That is Allah's Irada al-Kawniyah, Allah's universal will. And then there is Allah's will, which is His Irada al-Shar'iyyah, Allah's legislational will, which corresponds with that which He loves and is pleased with. So the Shaykh here is making the point that everything in the creation exists by the will of Allah, meaning which will? By His universal will. Al-irada al-kawniyah. And he quotes an ayah as proof. إِنَّمَا أَمْرُهُ إِذَا أَرَادَ شَيْئًا أَن يَقُولَ لَهُ كُن فَيَكُونَ. Surah Yasin, the 36th surah, ayah 82. With the explanation, and his affair, when he wills something, is just that he says to it, be, and it is. This ayah referring to Allah's irada kawniyah, Allah's universal will. That whatever Allah wills will be within the creation, and that must inescapably occur. Then Shaykh Fawzan said, so every good and every evil occurs by Allah's universal will. Al-irada al-kawniyah. So nothing escapes from His will. And this contains a refutation of the Qadariyah, those who deny al-Qadr, pre-decree. Those who claim that the person himself, he is the one who creates his own actions and produces his own actions. And highly exalted is Allah above that which they say. Then the Shaykh explains how this point is an error. He says, because this is a declaration, I mean the saying of the Qadariyah, the deniers, they call the Qadariyah, I mean the deniers of the Qadr, deniers of the pre-decree. Those who say that mankind creates his own actions. The Shaykh said, because this saying of theirs is a declaration of Allah's being unable. And it is a statement that there are things in His creation which He, the Perfect and Most High, does not will. And they're saying that mankind does things which Allah doesn't will them to do. So they manage to escape from Allah's will, and they do things which are outside Allah's will altogether. The Shaykh said, so this is to describe Him with deficiency, because everything which occurs within the creation, whether good or evil, then it occurs by His will. So the Shaykh is there refuting the saying of those Qadariyah. Those who are saying that they're saying it amounts to declaring a deficiency in Allah, a deficiency in His will. I mean that they get the better of Allah's will, they escape from Allah's will, and they do things that Allah doesn't will them to do at all. Then Shaykh Fawzan said, so He creates good for a wise purpose, and He creates that which is evil for a wise purpose. Again, a very important point. It's not just the case Allah creates good and He creates evil and there's no wisdom in that. The Shaykh said, rather Allah creates that which is good for a wise purpose, and He creates that which is evil for a wise purpose. So from the aspect of its creation, then it is not an evil, because it is created for a tremendous wisdom and a tremendous goal, which is to test and to try, and to distinguish that which is foul from that which is good, and in order to reward the people upon their righteous deeds, and to recompense the people for their evil deeds. And He was wise in that. He, the Perfect and Most High. He did not create anything without purpose. So the Shaykh makes the point that the people of the Sunnah emphasize that in whatever Allah creates and in whatever Allah does, there is wisdom. Contrary to the saying of some of the people of deviation who just says Allah just does some things, we don't ask about them, He just does them and that's the end of it. No, the people of the Sunnah hold that whatever Allah does or whatever Allah creates, it is for a great wisdom. Shaykh Fawzan just made the point here that that which exists, which is evil, then in its creation, we don't say in its very creation it's evil, or the creation of it isn't evil. No. We say that which exists, which is evil, Allah created it for a great and wise purpose. Meaning, so there would be good in the creation and there would be evil. And then Allah would thereby test the people and try the people and distinguish who would choose the good and who would choose the evil, therefore who would be rewarded and who would be punished. And that's where Shaykh Fawzan ends this particular point. And with regard to the explanation of Ibn Abil Izz, the famous explanation of Al-Aqedah Tahawiyyah of Ibn Abil Izz, then we'll just quote a section from there where he says, وَلَا يَكُونُ إِلَّا مَا يُرِيدُ, and nothing exists except what He wills. Ibn Abil Izz said, this contains a refutation of the saying of the Qadariyah and the Mu'tazila. Because they say Allah willed Iman, true faith, from all of the people. But the unbeliever, he is the one who willed unbelief for himself. I mean, they're trying to say that for the unbeliever, Allah willed and wanted from him, and Allah willed from him that he would be a believer. But the kafir got the better of Allah's will. It's like he escaped from Allah's will, got the better of it, and he became an unbeliever by his own will. The explainer said, and this saying of theirs is corrupt and is rejected, since it is contrary to the book and the sunnah, and to correct intellect. And it is the well-known matter of al-qadr, pre-decree. And something in explanation of that will follow, insha'Allah ta'ala. Then he said, and these people, mean the ones who deny pre-decree, he said, they are called the Qadariyah because they denied pre-decree. And they're at one extreme, as we've had before. At the one extreme with regard to pre-decree, at the one extreme we have those who deny it. Those who deny that Allah pre-decreed the affairs, that He knew He knew everything would occur, and so on to the rest of He wrote it, He created it, He willed it, and He created it. The Qadariyah, they deny. At the one extreme, they deny pre-decree, or deny part of it. And at the other extreme, we have the Jabariyah, those who say the people have no free will, the people are forced to do whatever they do. So the explainer said, and likewise the Jabariyah are also called the people of Qadr, the people of pre-decree. They're also called Qadariyah, because there's two groups of Qadariyah. The Qadariyah who deny pre-decree, and the Qadariyah who affirm it and go beyond bounds in it, which is the Jabariyah. Those who say man has no free will at all. Then he said, and this name, the Qadariyah, is mostly used for the first group. I mean, when you see the term in the book, the Qadariyah, it usually means those who deny the pre-decree. Then he said, as for the people of the Sunnah, then they say that even though Allah willed that sins would occur, however, He does not love them, and He is not pleased with them, and He did not command them. And this is the point where the people of Sunnah distinguish themselves from both of these deviant groups. They say, the people of the Sunnah say that even though Allah willed sins to occur, however, He does not love them, and He is not pleased with them, and He did not command them. Rather, He hates them and is angry with them, and He forbade them. This is the saying of all of the Salaf. Those who say, مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ كَانَ وَمَا لَمْ يَشَأْ لَمْ يَكُنْ. Whatever Allah willed occurs, and whatever He did not will does not occur. And then he mentioned, after he carries on for a while, for a short paragraph, and then he says, and the verifiers from the people of the Sunnah, they say, Al-irada, will, in the book of Allah, is of two types. Irada, Allah's will, referring to His pre-decree, which is His universal will. And the second type is His irada ash-shar'iyyah, His legislational will, which comprises His love and His pleasure. So this is a very important point, and it can never be stressed. As Shaykh Falah, Hafidhullah, stressed the point that this is an extremely crucial point, which is why we keep mentioning the point that the people of the Sunnah, they are the only ones who make this distinction, that the other deviant sects, on the one hand the Qadariyah, those who deny pre-decree, they only affirm one type of will for Allah. And when they see that sins occur, they say, Allah doesn't will sins, He doesn't love sins, He doesn't want them to happen, so therefore these sins occur outside the will of Allah. Things occur outside the will of Allah. In the unbelievers, they can do things that Allah doesn't want them whatsoever to do. And at the other extreme, we have the Jabariyah, those who say mankind is forced and compelled to do whatever he does. And they say person is just like a feather in the wind. He has no choice and no free will. Rather, Allah forces the people to do whatever they do. And the reason for their deviation is because both of them, they don't distinguish between these two wills. Allah's universal will, which is corresponds to Allah's mashi'ah, Allah's universal will. Allah willed whatever was going to take place should take place. And then the second is al-irada al-shar'iyyah, Allah's legislational will, which corresponds with Allah's love, that which He loves, and that which He is pleased with, and that which He commands.